organizing what you have. And one of the things that you do need to do is everybody has a hot spot, whether it's your office or your house, where things just pile up. And if you can start with attacking that and make sure that you keep that clean moving ahead, that is a great, great start as far as relieving your stress and getting on a roll to keep yourself organized. So if you can keep those hot spots clean so that you can actually eat at your dining room table instead of on the counter in the kitchen, it's a great place to start.
That is so true. I know for me, that hot spot is my garage. Whenever there's a question, do we need we'll put it in the garage. Well, after a while, we can't even get the car into the garage anymore, so we had to clean it out. But yes, everybody has that location. In the kitchen, most people have a junk drawer. There's usually, if you're in corporate at least, most people have a drawer where there's like takeout menus and things just get tossed in there. If you're keeping those clean, it's easier to keep the rest clean because it does really create a flow. And something to keep in mind is you should figure out where it is you are spending your time. In the office, the most obvious space is your desk. Well, if you're spending most of your time at your desk, then the things you use most often should be right by your desk. And the less you use something, the further away it should be. Same thing in your house. If you spend most of your time in a family room, most of the things that you're going to be using should be in the family room or close by, and things that are used less and less often, further and further away. This not only helps you figure out where things should go, but it also maximizes your time because you're not spending time going up and back getting things that you use frequently.
Yeah, and we're kind of talking about things that are kind of laying around for a while that we're trying to get rid of, but there's a lot of ways that you can get yourself organized for your business and personally just by doing things a little bit differently. For instance, a lot of people your age and my age actually have photographs on pieces of paper called photos as opposed to with emails. And there's services out there now where you can scan all those photos in. I mean, obviously you're going to want to save them and so on and so forth, but if you can scan those in, you can actually organize those on your computer to see them any way you want and organized in a lot of ways that you never thought possible of organizing things. Backing up computer files is really, really important. Also, we talk online as far as organizing passwords and that kind of thing. But you can use technology to really, really help yourself get organized. And it really starts, with writing things down, a to-do list. Obviously, you can do that online too and with apps and so on and so forth. But if you do have a list of what you're doing and you have a calendar as far as when you're doing it, and, we've talked often about the system that you've developed for doing that, that's so important to get things implemented so that you have yourselves in a routine to get things done, including making sure that you're organized.
Right. And to go back to something you said, photos. Ever since cameras were put into phones, people now have hundreds, thousands of photos. And if you don't take the time to organize them, you'll never find them again. So many people have folders upon folders of photos that the file name is whatever string of letters your phone assigned to them. Come up with a naming convention. Maybe a date, date, place, and if there's a person in there, a name. Or date, location, event. But have something so that when you look at that file name, you can go, oh, that's the picture I'm looking for.
Yeah, the question also is, do you really need to have that file in your phone? By using software like Dropbox and things like that, you can actually download things from your telephone, from your cell phone into your computer, organize the folders there, and delete them from your phone. Because the bottom line is if you have too many pictures, you're going to run out of storage on your phone and you're going to have to start deleting things anyway. So if you can get them off there and keep them in a virtual place like Dropbox where you can access them from an app on your iPhone, it's the same thing, and you're a whole lot more organized that way.
Right, and most phone manufacturers actually make that very easy for you. For Apple, they have iCloud that syncs your computer, your phone, and stores it in the cloud. Android has Google Drive. You can put things in there so it's off your phone, it's stored in the cloud. But even putting it in the cloud, if you don't rename these so that it's something you'll recognize, finding them again is going to be difficult. So you really do want to rename those files and really think about what you're naming them. There's an old joke. I used to work as a graphic designer, and there's a joke. It pops up on Facebook periodically that it's the designer's naming convention, and it's a list of files, and it starts with client file, and then it goes with final client file, and then it's second final client file, and then it's final client, because they make the assumption that, okay, this is it, we're done, and then of course the client comes back with changes. Realistically, name your files so that you know what they are. Name your folders so that you know what they are. You shouldn't have to search for things. You should be able to get them quickly.
Yeah, and your folders, if you put subfolders in there, that's a really, really good way to do that. Like I have a folder for my consulting practice, and inside that folder are the different clients that I have in there. For presentations, I have a folder, subfolders for the different types of presentations that I'm doing. I mean, you can organize things very, very well. And what I often use when I'm doing these things is I'll actually put a date in front of it. I'll just put the year and the month so that I can organize it by the date, so that whatever's old, I can delete that very easily and see what's new in there when I'm redoing the whole thing over and over and over again. So yeah, the more time you put in ahead of time as far as organizing these things and setting up a system, the easier it's going to be moving ahead to find things.
Right. And now finding those things can be even easier for that first one, because we have all of these voice commands. The Macintosh has Siri built into it. Windows PCs have Cortana. But you can actually ask your computer, find all photos from 2003. And it will just give you a folder of all of, and then you can work on those.
Yep, and that's how I have my photo albums. That's exactly how I have things organized. I have different topics, but for my home pictures, I have family 2019, family 2018, family 2017, and it just goes right there. It's really, really simple to do this, and it's fantastic as far as putting things in context when you really want to take the time to look at them all.
Exactly. And, as one of the things we've sort of been dancing around, but we've sort of hinted at, is that one of the keys to being organized is to keep being organized. On a regular basis, you have to go in and make sure that stuff is cleaned out, that your folders are in the proper order. If you do it often enough, it won't take long at all. And sometimes it's just a matter of how much is there. Like I have folders for all of my email. I go back and go organize my emails anytime my inbox hits 150 emails in it. Because by keeping it under that number, it means I'm regularly filing as it comes in, putting stuff in the right place. Friday afternoon, just before you shut down for the week, is a great time to go over your desk, clear it off, make sure things are in the right place. So you start off the next week with a fresh start.
Yeah, again, it's very, very important to put organizing as part of your to-do list in your calendar. And if you can do it at the same time every week, like you're talking about on a Friday, as far as a purge for the week, that's fantastic. There are certain things you're going to do every day. But it's really important to get yourself into a system. And as you said, once you start doing that and you start following your system and you do it for a little while, it's going to become habit, and it's going to be a whole lot easier for you to continue to do it.
Right. And one of the most important things is to do this before you have to do this. I learned that a number of years ago with bookkeeping. I had been putting off the bookkeeping for my business, putting it aside, and then the system crashed. And I had to start all from scratch. Now, and because I kept putting it aside, it took a couple of days to get everything back up and running. Now, I do my bookkeeping every Friday. It literally only takes me 10 minutes because I've only got the stuff from that week.
Yeah, and obviously, if you're working a business that still sends out invoices and so on and so forth from your bookkeeping system, it's really, really important to make sure you do that as often as you possibly can, schedule, because the bottom line is, if you do your work and you don't invoice your clients,
they don't pay you.
Your statement goes, but you're going to run out of money.
Yep. So, yeah, once you get yourself organized, put aside a little time to stay organized. Go through the emails, go through the bills, go through your files and make sure they're up to date. Most of us put that aside because it's a daunting task. It's, I don't want to have to spend all that time. But if you do it on a regular basis, you're only spending 5-10 minutes at a clip. So we're just about at the end of our time. So, Chip, what do you think is the big takeaway our listeners need for this week?
Do not use a match. I'm just kidding. The bottom line is, time invested organizing now and in a system of organizing is going to be time saved. It's going to be less stress. It's going to make you a more comfortable, better, happier person.
Absolutely. I think that's a big takeaway, is being more organized gets rid of your stress. And let's face it, who among us wouldn't like a less stressful life? So take the time to do it right once, and then take the little bit of time it takes to keep it organized. With less stress in your life and more organization, you'll find things run a lot smoother. You've been listening to the Success Showcase. You can find us every week at xvadio.com/podcasts. You can also find us on the iTunes Store, the Apple Podcasts app, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and wherever you find podcasts. Remember, make this your best week ever and make next week even better. See you then.